Alright, so hey guys, so welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're finally gonna check out Wise Razor, which is, at the moment at least, the only stance for the two-handed Nikanas, and it is described as having deftly executed sweeps and slashes, and it sports a V polarity which matches the Tatsu. The Wise Razor stance only sports 3 combos in total, and the first one is called Cut Thrice, which is a very straightforward 3-step button mash. The combo starts off with a very wide sweeping attack going from right to left, which will hit all enemies in front of you and do 200% damage. This is followed up by another sweeping attack going from left to right, which will also hit all enemies in front of you, but this one doesn't have a multiplier. And the combo ends with a very cool looking wind up leading into the final strike, which will hit enemies to the right and in front of you, and this one does 300% damage and will proc impact and slash. The second combo is called Threshing Grain, and this is a pause combo that's executed by tapping twice, waiting until the end of the animation on the second attack and then attacking 4 more times. This is essentially the button mash combo with a very fancy ending, so we start off once again with a wide sweeping attack going from right to left doing 200% damage, which is followed up by another sweeping attack going from left to right that doesn't have a multiplier. And then the fanciness kicks in, so we have an amazing looking triple strike that does more and more damage as it goes on. So the first hit has no multiplier, the second hit does 225% damage, and the third hit does 335% damage and knocks enemies down. Then we have another sweeping attack going from left to right, and this one does 200% damage and hits enemies in front of you, to the right of you, and sometimes even enemies behind you. This is then followed up by a downward slash that does 300% damage, likes to hit headshots and procs impact, and it all ends with this massive overhead slash that is pretty much a guaranteed headshot on most enemies, and it does 400% damage, and just in case something dares to survive it, it will also ragdoll anything it hits. This combo is extremely bursty, and it is very rare to see anything survive past the triple strike, which is definitely the highlight of the combo for me because it looks great, it feels great, and it does a lot of damage. What more could you want? And the third and final combo is called Calling Tundra, and this one is very easy to do, simply aim down sights and mash the melee button. And this one kicks off right away, so it once again starts off with a wide sweeping attack going from right to left, which does 200% damage. But it immediately goes into a frontal stab that does 200% damage, hits enemies in front of you, but can clip enemies that are slightly to the right. This is then followed up by a backhanded AoE strike that will hit everything around you for 200% damage and proc impact, and it leads into the final quad strike. Now the first 2 hits of the quad strike, this being hit number 1 and this being hit number 2, don't have any multipliers on them. The third hit is where it gets really fancy because this is where you jump off the ground and fly forward quite a bit before you slam the blade into the ground for 300% damage, and you ragdoll everything caught in the slam, and this leads into the final 4th strike where you pull the blade out of the ground in an upward motion, which also does 300% damage but also proc slash. This combo is really great, not only because of the damage you get with the final quad strike, but also because of the amount of ground you can cover with the leap. And my goodness, the final hit of this combo where your Warframe pulls the blade from the ground and actually throws it up a little bit before catching it again and going straight into another slice is one of the coolest, most fluid and best looking animations that we have in the game. Now the secondary attacks are pretty straightforward and they're fairly standard for the most part. So the air attack is just a standard air attack, the slide attack is once again a very standard slide attack, and the same goes for the slam. And the only secondary attack that has something going for it is the charge attack, which is a 2-step charge attack. This is step number 1 and this is step number 2, and this is also what fires the projectile, which is the weapon's unique mechanic. Now, the Wise Razor stance, aside from transmutation of course, can only, at the moment, be farmed from the coolant spiders that follow the exploiter orb around in Orb Vallis. So if you want to get the stance, simply go to Orb Vallis, go to the Temple of Profit and follow the exploiter orb around. She will initially have a couple of them following her around, but she will also poop one out every now and then. And now we come to the conclusion. So what do I think about the Wise Razor now that I've played with it for about 2 weeks? Well, I love it. It is very, very good. It has pretty much everything I want in a stance. It's not overly complicated, it has great damage, it has some slams, some AoE strikes, it has some procs, cool looking animations, and most importantly for me, it feels great to use. This stance is a lot of fun. And even if it didn't, it's not like you have much of a choice when it comes to the two-handed Nikanas, do you? If you want to use the two-handed Nikanas, you will have to use the Wise Razor, at least for now. But yeah, the Wise Razor is pretty great and I would highly recommend you check it out. And that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!